Hi, this is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com. Welcome to the South Carolina College Baseball video recap for Sunday, March the 23rd. There were 17 games involving state teams played on Sunday. Let's take a look at the action. We'll start over at Clemson. The Tigers fell behind Wake Forest 6-0 early, rallied back and eventually tied it with 3 runs in the 8th. Then in the 9th, they had a comeback walk-off win thanks to some good hustle. Tristan McClatty drew a leadoff walk, went to second when he stole second base, took third on a ground out by Josh Pano, and came in to score on a wild pitch. The Tigers are now 23-3 overall, 4-2 in the ACC. Wake Forest fell to 19-6 overall, 7-2 in the ACC. Dominic Leastis had 3 hits and drove in 3 runs for the Tigers, who next play in ACC action at Georgia Tech next weekend. Down in Troy, Alabama, the host Trojans scored 4 runs in the 6th and 4 more in the 7th, and beat Coastal Carolina 9-5 to win that series 2-1 in Sun Belt Conference play. Troy improved to 18-6 overall and 4-2 in the conference. Coastal Carolina fell to 17-7 and 4-2 in the Sun Belt. Out in Fayetteville, Arkansas got a 2-run homer, a grand slam homer, and a solo homer all in the 8th inning and pulled away to beat South Carolina 11-4 to complete a 3-game sweep of that SEC series. The Razorbacks are now 23-2 overall and 5-1 in the SEC. According to a graphic on today's videocast, 23-2 is the best start in Arkansas school history. They've had some great teams, but they've got another good one going right now. The Gamecocks fell to 17-8 and 1-5. Nathan Hall homered among his 3 hits, and Bo Hollins also homered for Carolina. But they made some defensive mistakes and some base running gaffes, and that contributed to the sweep, taking nothing away from Arkansas. But Carolina is hurting right now. They try to get well next weekend at home against defending national champ Tennessee. Good luck with that. Down in Charleston, Ethan Plyler singled, doubled, and homered to drive in 3 runs, and College of Charleston beat Elon 11-6, had to come from behind again, to win that Coastal Athletic Association series 2-1. The Cougars are now 14-8 overall, 2-1 in the CAA. Elon fell to 9-14 and 1-2. In Clinton, Ryan Oots singled, doubled, homered twice, and drove in 6 runs, and Presbyterian outslowed Gardner-Webb 16-13 to wrap up a sweep of that Big South Conference series. The Blue Hose are now 12-13 overall, 4-2 in the Big South. Gardner-Webb fell to 11-14 and 1-5. Also in Charleston, Johnny Sweeney singled, doubled, and homered to drive in 5 runs, and USC Upstate completed a 3-game Big South Conference sweep of Charleston Southern 8-2. The Spartans have now won 4 games in a row. They're 12-11 overall, 3-3 in the Big South. Charleston Southern has dropped 6 straight. They are 12-9 overall and 0-6 in the Big South. Elsewhere, St. John's overcame a 9-run deficit and beat Winthrop 13-11 to win that 11-9, to win that series over in Rock Hill. They took the final 2 games of the series. St. John's is now 10-12. Winthrop fell to 13-11. In Spartanburg, Villanova also salvaged the last game of the series, winning over Wofford 10-5. The Wildcats are now 11-10. Wofford fell to 17-8. In Charleston, Mercer scored the game's final 6 runs and beat the Citadel 9-7 to salvage the final game of that Southern Conference series. The Citadel was trying to get its first 3-0 start in conference play since 2011, but they were not able to do it. Mercer improved to 16-9 overall, 1-2 in SoCon. The Citadel fell to 13-12 and 2-1. Elsewhere, Benedict beat Albany State 23-13 in 8 innings. The Tigers hit 9 home runs, including 2 apiece for Nicholas Gioa, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and Kenyon Connor Jr. Gioa hit a grand slam in the bottom of the 8th to invoke the run rule. Elsewhere, Florence Darlington Tech beat USC Union 12-1 in 5 innings. The Stingers have now won 12 straight games, and with that win, they are now 3 games ahead of second place Gaston College in the Junior College Region 10 standings. Why did Gaston College fall a game behind? Because Jared Worling pitched a complete game, and USC Lancaster beat Gaston 4-1. Luke Garabedian hit a 3-run homer to break a 1-1 tie, and the Lancers held on. Lancaster is now 13-18 overall, 7-8 in the conference in the region, and Gaston College fell to 24-8-1 and 10-5. I do not believe I listed the records for the FD Tech and Union. Forest Arlington Tech is now 26-9 overall, 13-2 in the conference or the region, as you would. Union fell to 20-9 and 8-7. They had a rough week facing both FD Tech and Walter State, which is the Tennessee Power. The Bantams have lost 5 straight games. Jacob Cowart had 3 hits and drove in 2 runs, and USC Sumter completed a Region 10 sweep of USC Salkehatchie. That final score was 14-4 in 5 innings. The Fire Ants are now up to 14-16, and they are 6-9 in Region 10. Salkehatchie fell to 1-30 and 1-14, and unfortunately the Indians have lost 19 straight. Lander scored 6 runs in the final 2 innings to rally past North Georgia and winning that game by the score of 12-9. They salvaged the final game of that Peach Belt Conference Series. Lander's now 21-9 overall, 93 in the Peach Belt. North Georgia is now 20-9 and 10-2. Also, Payne swept Morris, won the first game 8-3, the second game 9-3. They have not posted the box scores yet, but Morris has now lost 23 straight games. Elsewhere, USC Aiken got grand slams from Capers Molinaroli and Jack Hobson to beat Columbus State 11-7 to break a losing streak. The Pacers are now 14-16 overall, 6-6 in the Peach Belt Conference. Columbus State fell to 12-15 and 4-8. And that is it as far as scores for Sunday's games. You will see my pick for Team of the Week on the website at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. You'll see my state rankings at PalmettoStateBaseball.com through Sunday's games. And you'll also see that I picked Jared Whirling of USC Lancaster as my player of the day because he had a complete game in that win over USC Lancaster. There are no games involving state varsity teams on the schedule for Monday. Something could change, but the action picks up on Tuesday. We'll get into that more later on. Looking right now at the ACC and SEC scores and standings through Sunday. In the other ACC scores on Sunday, California beat Stanford 6-5 in 10 innings. Duke beat Virginia 13-6. Georgia Tech beat Notre Dame 10-2. North Carolina beat Boston College 10-0. Pitt beat NC State 5-3, and Virginia Tech beat Louisville 11-4. So, what do the ACC standings look like? Florida State is at 5-1. Georgia Tech is at 7-2. Wake Forest is at 7-2. Clemson, NC State are tied for fourth at 4-2. California is 5-4. Duke is 5-4. Stanford is 5-4. North Carolina is 4-5. Virginia Tech is 4-5. Pitt is 2-4. Boston College is 3-6. Virginia is 3-6. Miami is 1-5, and Notre Dame is 1-8. Next weekend's matchups include Stanford at Virginia, Clemson at Georgia Tech, California at Louisville, Florida State at Notre Dame, Miami at North Carolina, NC State at Duke, Pitt at Boston College, and Virginia Tech at Wake Forest. Well, how about the SEC today? Georgia completed a 3-game sweep of Florida 15-4. Kentucky salvaged the final game of its series against Auburn with a 6-0 win. Oklahoma beat Mississippi State 7-3. Ole Miss completed a sweep of Missouri 14-6. And Texas won the rubber game of its series with LSU 6-2. So what do the SEC standings look like through 2 weeks? Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas are tied for first place at 5-1. Auburn, LSU, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt are all 4-2. Kentucky is at 2-4. Mississippi State is at 1-5. South Carolina is at 1-5. Florida, Missouri, and Texas A&M are all at 0-6. Next weekend's matchups, in addition to that Tennessee at South Carolina series I told you about, will be Florida at Ole Miss, Mississippi State at LSU, Arkansas at Vanderbilt, Auburn at Georgia, Kentucky at Texas A&M, Oklahoma at Alabama, and Texas at Missouri. I'll be working on my podcast for tomorrow. I'll post it sometime Monday. And, let me know what you like that I do and would like to see me do that I don't do at PalmettoStateBaseball.com. You can always follow me on X under the handle of Palmetto Base. For now, it's Sunday night. This is Rudy Jones of PalmettoStateBaseball.com saying thanks for listening. Have a good night, and Jesus loves you.